What's up, guys? This is Stevan. This is my coach and my dad, Steve, or Milos, some of you know. We're going over the second wrestler from the series, wrestlers that I'm inspired by. The first one we did was John Smith. The second one is another one of my favorites from the same time period. Who is that going to be?
Arsen Fadzaev from the old Soviet Union. That was actually the first person that I kind of watched wrestle prior to John Smith even. And Arsen Fadzaev was fascinating in the fact that he was a 6-time world champ and 2-time Olympic gold medalist. There was a time period he was considered the best wrestler in the world.
Pound for pound.
Pound for pound at any weight class. He went like 3 years and over 100 matches without a loss internationally.
And this also was at a weight class which is 68 kilos, or like currently the 65 kilo weight class, which as you see now is the deepest and toughest in the world, just because of how many human beings are wrestling around the 145 pound weight. Having that much success at that weight class, and also with the formula that he wrestled with.
Well, what drew me to the guy was his simplicity. Number one, he dominated everybody, but how he dominated was really simple. For a novice mind like myself, when I was first studying the sport, I found him, I found he was one of the greats, and he had a formula I could actually follow. He basically had a simple formula, but it was a combination of a 1, 2, 3 punch. And we always talk, and coaches always talk about being able to chain wrestle and have combinations. Everything he did was off of a simple combination.
An inside tie and a reverse wrist. And I took a lot of this wrestling off of his because also he was a lefty, so it was easy to model because I'm also a lefty. So a lot of his wrestling would go, inside tie, reverse wrist, and switching from the collar, where he'd be able to hit a single leg, a high crotch, and best known, his front headlock, foot fake, front headlock.
That was all he did over and over and over again. And if you thought you had the single leg taken care of, he'd catch you in a front headlock. And Arsen Fadzaev, and I want anyone to comment on this if you disagree, had the best front headlock of any wrestler that's ever lived. And I would say Dave Schultz would be probably a second close. And watching the nationals, the trials here at the U.S. trials, I watched over and over and over again. I see it so many times. People in front headlocks. No one scored from a front headlock. Maybe one go behind, I think, all weekend that I watched. We're just not good in that position. We're kind of average. And, we need to get better in that position. And Arsen Fadzaev showed you, if I can't get to your leg, I'm going to pull you under and I'm going to score.
One of the other things that I'm able to take from that you probably see from my wrestling now is going same side head collar tie, which not many people do this, but this is an Arsen Fadzaev move that I use currently, and something that's probably one of my best setup tie-ups. Basically a collar tie, instead of keeping your head on the other side, it's a collar tie where your head's on the same exact side. That keeps everything tight, elbows in position, and it's easy to transition to an elbow control or an inside just with good head positioning. So that's something that I would probably say I use the most of from Fadzaev.
And the reverse wrist.
And a reverse wrist whenever I grab a wrist there. But yeah, that's going over Arsen Fadzaev, one of my favorite wrestlers that I learned that my dad loved, probably his favorite of all time. John Smith and him are, fight for it. But next week we're gonna go over my favorite wrestler, someone from my generation that I grew up watching, that was wrestling while I started the sport of wrestling, that I looked up to. So tune in for next week. Like this video, make sure to subscribe to our channel. Also, we're going to be dropping my Chicago Galaxy Stevan Micic Vintage World Champion tees here pretty soon. 100 of them are going to be releasing in the next week or so. Stay tuned for that information. Thanks, and let's keep it going.